The results are in, and the need is very specific, especially as it pertains to low-income individuals, including Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, and VA beneficiaries. Let's get into it. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and for being part of this community. If you're new or if you haven't done so, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so, and you can join this amazing community with all of the other great people who are already here. Thank you. I truly appreciate you, and let's talk through this. So in yesterday's video, I reached out to all of you asking, if you had your choice to choose between a one-time fourth stimulus check, monthly recurring payments, universal basic income, otherwise known as UBI, a raise to your monthly benefits, the child tax credit, or cancellation of federal student loans, what would you choose? Now, this question came because in my video yesterday, I said, hey, the dominating headlines right now are talking all about this child tax credit. These are the monthly checks that are going out to people starting in just a couple weeks. There's also a lot of talk about canceling $50,000 of federal student loans. So I thought, seriously, what would people in my community really need right now? Like, what does everybody really prefer to get? Well, I ran through all the comments. In fact, I just got done reading through hundreds and hundreds of comments on that video, and it's very obvious to what people need right now. It is like shocking to see the similarities between most of the comments on that video. If you want, feel free to go back and read through the comments on that video. It's very, very interesting. I loved reading through your comments. So by the way, if you watched that video and you left a comment down below, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I loved reading through that, but at the same time, it's kind of sad to see how many people just literally could have their lives changed with just a matter of a couple $100s. Literally, a couple $100 would be all that people need to get by. So anyway, let's talk through this because I think this is very eye-opening to see what people actually need right now. And it's really not that much. Seriously, this is like a no-brainer what Congress needs to do right now. So let me walk you through exactly what I noticed in the comment section on that video. So here's what I found. The vast majority of comments, like a huge percentage of the comments of people on that video are saying, hey, we need a fourth stimulus check. And we need one of the following. Now, when I say need one of the following, it was kind of spread across the board as far as what people were saying. Most people were saying a fourth stimulus check for sure. But then they followed it up by saying a fourth stimulus check plus one of these. Monthly checks, universal basic income, UBI, or we need a permanent raise to our benefits in the amount of not $1,000, not $500, but yes, only $200. Yes, that's why I said just a couple minutes ago that most people would have their lives completely changed with just a couple $100. Yeah, so let me talk through this a little bit further. So here's the thing with the fourth stimulus check. We've already known this because we've seen it many times before with the other three stimulus checks. Stimulus checks are the fastest and easiest way to get cash infused right into the bank accounts and into the pockets of the people, right? So a fourth stimulus check would be the fastest and easiest way that we could get money out to the people and get them the relief that they need immediately, right? It would literally just be a matter of Congress writing up a bill, pushing it through, and they could have stimulus checks out the door in a matter of just weeks. If they really wanted to do it, they could do it. Yes, it'd be that easy. But unfortunately, we know that it's really not that fast for them, right? They like to take the slow road on pretty much everything they do, right? So anyway, but if they absolutely wanted to, they could do it. Yes. So here's what else is interesting. Many people followed it up by saying, yep, we need an infusion of cash like right here, right now. We need a fourth stimulus check to help get caught up from all of the drama that happened basically over the last 16 months or so, right? But then we need either monthly checks, universal basic income, or a permanent raise to our benefits going forward in the amount of $200. Now, there were a couple different numbers that I saw thrown out, like $300 a month, things like that. But the vast majority of people said, all we need is a $200 raise to our benefits. That's it. $200. Seriously. I can't believe that we would even need to have this discussion with Congress. I feel like they know what's right. If that's all it would take, an extra $200 for the lowest income people who receive these benefits, including Like I said, Social Security, retirement, survivors, disability, SSDI, SSI, VA. If that's really all it would take is $200, I feel like Congress should be like on top of this immediately, seriously, to help out that many millions of people who need $200 a month to change their life and to get them back where they need to be. I feel like it's honestly a no-brainer. They should do that immediately. So here's the difference between monthly checks, UBI, and permanent raise. At the end of the day, they all come out to about the same. Yes, because here's the thing. Monthly checks and UBI would ultimately be a higher dollar amount, but then they would also have a designated end date, right? So like monthly checks, as many of you were saying in the comment section, you were saying, hey, monthly checks through the end of the year. Yes, many people were just saying monthly checks through the end of the year. That's it for 6 month monthly checks. That's it. Many people were saying also UBI. Well, again, as we've talked about with UBI, it's traditionally a smaller number, as in it's usually about $500 a month for about a year, maybe 2 years, or maybe a little bit longer, but it's generally about $500 a month, right? And then, of course, the permanent raise, which would be $200 a month going forward forever. Now, again, these are just suggestions that people are putting down in the comment section because I asked, what is the actual need right now? What does everybody really need to get by? One other point that was brought up a couple times. I only saw this like two times. Two times I think I saw this. And this is actually a really interesting point. A couple people said, I would rather have monthly checks or UBI because it would not be counted as income, whereas a $200 permanent raise would then be counted as income. Good point. Yeah, I agree. It absolutely would be. Here's the thing with stimulus checks and UBI. They typically are not counted as income. They're not counted as taxable income. It's basically just like a stimulus check, right? They give you the money, no strings attached. That's it. If you qualify for it, you get it, and that's it. It's a done deal. Whereas a $200 raise for your benefits, let's just do the math on that really quickly. A $200 raise across the entire year would be $2,400. Well, for some of you who are maybe getting a little bit more on your Social Security or, whatever, VA or SSDI, whatever it is, if you got an extra $2,400, you could potentially have your income lifted above the standard deduction, which ultimately wipes out all of your income on your tax return. If you're above that, you would have to pay taxes on anything above that. So yeah, you could potentially be having to pay taxes on some of that. So yeah, I agree that monthly checks and UBI could possibly be better in the long run just because it would be non-taxable. But I get it. Most of you are looking at the long game saying, hey, I expect to be living on these benefits for the next 10, 15, maybe 20 years. And ultimately a $200 raise for the next 20 years would serve me much, much better than just a short-term, $1,000 check for the next 5 months or 6 months or whatever happens to be, right? Here's what else is interesting. I only saw a handful of comments that reached out saying, canceling my federal student loans would be really, really helpful. I mean, I saw maybe 10 of those comments, maybe 10 people reached out and said, yeah, cancel my federal student loans. That would help me out a ton. But then a bunch of people also said, hey, because I'm low income, my federal student loans are going to be forgiven no matter what. Because I'm low income, I'm not required to make payments on them. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't know much about that, okay? Just being totally real with you, I don't know about that. But based on the number of comments that I saw saying that, it's like, oh, if that's the case, if you're low income and your income is low enough where you don't need to make payments on your federal student loans and they'll ultimately be forgiven anyway, you wouldn't need cancellation, right? So again, I'm not giving advice at all because I honestly do not know anything about that. But I did see a few comments talking about that. But very interesting, the vast majority of people want a fourth stimulus check just to get some cash immediately to help you out during this time because you've incurred a lot of different bills, a lot of things have piled up over the last few months. Prices continue to rise, as we've talked about so many times, which is ultimately chipping away at your monthly benefit, resulting in getting less each and each month, especially when it pertains to food on your table, right? Yeah, prices have gone up a ton, as we've talked about. So anyway, I wanted to bring you the results from that video. It's very, very surprising. I should say it's not surprising at all. It's very, very interesting, but not surprising to see that most of you are just asking for something simple. $200, that's it. $200 would make the difference for so many of you during this time. I just feel like if that's all it really is $200, I feel like this should be an absolutely no-brainer with Congress. They should be on top of this immediately. sending out the unnecessary relief to all these people. I mean, it is just, honestly, it's just sad to see that many people that are struggling over $200. That's it, $200. I mean, $200 is like nothing for most people. You know what I mean? If that's all it would come down to is $200 to help out those people who need the relief the most right now, let's just get it done, guys. Seriously, right? Let's tell Congress, let's get it done, right? So anyway, I wanted to bring you this because I thought it was super interesting to see all these results. But yeah, wow, we're going to keep doing whatever we can here within our civilian authority, as I've said so many times before, to continue to work on a fourth stimulus check, hammer down, make sure these people know that, hey, there are still millions of people out there who need a fourth stimulus check immediately. And if we can get anything else like monthly checks, UBI, or a raise, like stuff like that, of course, we're going to keep working for that in any way we possibly can. So thanks again for everybody, all of you who reached out in that last video yesterday. If you want to go back and check it out, feel free. It is the, it's my yesterday evening video. It's just back a couple. Feel free to check that one out. Honestly, I'm not really sure what the title is on that video. I should have looked it up. I honestly don't even really know what the title is on that one. But feel free and go back and check it out. It was just back like 2 or 3 videos, something like that from yesterday evening. But again, thank you so much to all of you who participated. And of course, those of you who are watching this video, I really do appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video. Share this video with your friends, family, and social media so we can get more attention on all this topic and we can get ultimately more payments to these low-income individuals. And of course, feel free to share the videos and go back and check out any other videos right here on the channel, as we have 1,200 videos right here for you to enjoy. Thanks again. I truly appreciate it.